but I did a post on my personal page that basically said that all sellers are better off having a cash offer. This is a common misconception and something that truthfully a lot of agents are afraid of. A lot of agents, when they get a seller appointment or they hear about a seller that wants to sell their property, they think that they automatically have to go in and just simply provide a listing consult and that's it, right? They're afraid that if they go in and the seller wants to list their house, and let's say that they want to list their house for 600,000, and you also have a cash offer that's a little bit lower than the 600,000, that the seller is going to get offended, that they're going to lose the listing opportunity, or that the seller is going to view you as less valuable. This couldn't be further from the truth. We give over 100 cash offers per week, and a seller is always 100% of the time better off having a cash offer as an option than not. Now, let me be clear about this. Most sellers are going to end up taking their property to market. Most sellers, after you have a good, honest conversation about them, about their goals, about what they need, about what they want, are going to then decide that they do want to go on the market, that they want to try to get as many people in their property as possible. And that's okay. Most sellers are going to determine that. But even the sellers that determine that they want to put their property on the market, they will also have that option. Hey, if at any moment after you leave this listing appointment, before we put the property on the MLS, maybe during the property being on the MLS where I might have an inspection issue or a renegotiation issue, I always have this basically sell it now price from a cash buyer that I can take whenever I need it. In this market, we all know there's not a lot of inventory. Sellers are getting really good prices for their homes. That could change at any moment, but as of right now, the market's super competitive. Sellers are generally getting really good offers on their properties. But even in this market, here and there, a seller will go through a home inspection and maybe go through two home inspections. And for whatever reason, they have good reasons. They decide, you know what, I am just going to take that cash offer. I know what that cash offer is. I'm going to take it. I want to be out of my house in 30 days or 45 days or whatever their timeline is. Okay, so just keep in mind that there is no negative for a seller to have that cash offer in their back pocket. If we come out on an appointment with you and we provide them with a cash offer, we're going to tell them the benefits of taking that cash offer and the negatives of taking that cash offer, right? Because there's positives and negatives of taking that cash offer. The positive is they know exactly what that number is going to be. They know exactly when their closing is going to be. They know that there's no renegotiation. They know that they can leave all of their stuff behind in the property. They know that they don't have to make any repairs. What's the negative? The negative of taking a cash offer is that you might end up getting less than you would have gotten had you put it on the market and exposed that property to more buyers, right? When we come out and we explain that to a seller, sellers make that determination, right? You're giving your seller more options, right? You're not just saying there's one way to sell your property, but yes, there's multiple ways to sell your property. I'm not just an agent, but I'm an agent with Investor Solutions. And when you bring us a lead, we're going to go out on that appointment with you and help you through those talking points, right? We're going to make sure that not only are you not going to lose that listing, but that you actually have a better ability to get that listing if you bring us out on the appointment. All right. So again, the topic for today, fiction. Most sellers sell to investors because of property condition and or that they're behind on their mortgage, and that's fiction, right? It is fictional that most sellers sell their homes to us because of condition or because they're behind in their mortgage. Now, again, I want to be clear. Do some sellers sell us their property just because of condition? Yes. We buy properties in any condition. So there are sellers who have a failed septic. They just had fire damage in their property. They can only sell to an investor, basically. It won't even come close to passing FHA inspection. And yes, here and there, we do buy homes for people. We go out to their property. They've got an auction date that's a week or two or three away. And really, at that point, we're typically their best solution. Otherwise, the property is going to go to auction. Okay, so again, we do buy houses like that. Those do exist. But I would say more often than not, the houses that we buy don't necessarily fit into that category. So I'm going to talk about the types of properties that we buy. And I do want to talk a little bit about the condition in the foreclosure thing just really quickly as to why those aren't necessarily the most common reasons. Okay. So a lot of times when we buy a home from a seller, it is not because of necessarily what is happening to the seller or what is happening to the property. It is the mindset of the person that makes that determination that they want to sell to an investor. Somebody can have, and I'm sure if you're a listing agent or you've listed homes, somebody can have a house that needs a lot of work. That doesn't mean that they're actually going to be realistic about the number that they're trying to get. Okay. So we go on plenty of appointments where we go out to the property needs a ton of work, and they're just fighting tooth and nail about what number they think in their head that they should get. Oftentimes, it's much more than an investor can pay. And a lot of times, we don't buy that house for that reason. And then to add on to the foreclosure thing, in this market, right, and especially like where we live, where I live in New England, sellers have so much time between the time that they are defaulting on their mortgage until an auction actually happens. It can be a year, it can be 2 years, or it could be 3 years. So it's not common that a seller, because they have plenty of time to make a decision on what they want to do, it is not common for a seller to wait all the way until that last day, call us and say, "Hey, we have to close in a week." Okay? Again, we buy plenty of properties that need a ton of work. We buy plenty of properties where they're behind on their mortgage. But there are so many other scenarios that are out there. And it's why when people tell me, and this is how this conversation all started, I've been told over and over again for years, okay, Tom, I just want to let you know this is how I'm trying to find great investment deals. I'm looking for people that are behind on their mortgage, or I'm driving for dollars. And it's why I don't advocate doing those things, because again, the bulk of the properties that we buy don't need as much work as you might think and are not behind on their mortgage. So I don't love that strategy because again, it's not doing what somebody thinks it's doing. And when I have those conversations with people, it's always with people, agents that are newer to finding properties, newer to the investment game. And this is kind of like a preconceived notion of what they have in their head of what, investing is going to be like. And it's just really, not the truth. So, having said all of that, I want to talk to you about like reasons why a seller, even if their house doesn't need a ton of work and even if they're not facing foreclosure, might want to listen to a cash offer or might take a cash offer. Again, going back to what I said a few minutes ago, I believe that every seller should have the ability to learn what a cash offer is, right? Just learn. Hey, this is what a cash offer is. This is what the process is like. This is what listing your house looks like. This is what you might get if you list your house. What they might get if they list their house is going to be a little bit variable, right? We don't necessarily know what they're going to get until it hits the market. Whereas again, selling to a cash buyer, they're going to know right then and there what they're going to get.